Just want to first of all thank everybody for coming tonight, especially those who are officially on vacation and put in the extra effort to be here and make this happen. It is greatly appreciated. By at least one person here. So Parshas Noach goes into great detail about the Mabul, this tremendous flood which Hashem brought upon the earth during the generation of Noach. And the Torah goes into detail as to what actually caused the Mabul. And the Torah says there's really two things. Vatishaches haaretz, a lashon of hashchasa, and vatimale kimala haaretz chamas. Rashi says, what is this lashon of hashchasa? Rashi says it means two things. One is erba, forbidden, immoral sexual behavior. And Chazal tell us something amazing, that the corrupt, immoral conduct of society at that time was so polluted that it actually made an effect on the animal kingdom as well. And that the animals, like man, following in the footsteps of the people who lived around them, the animals also became perverted. And Rashi tells us that Hamas, the other reason why Hashem had decided to bring upon, or why Hashem felt it necessary to bring upon the Mabul, was of Gezel. Hamas means Gezel, theft. But based on Psukim later on, Rashi says something very interesting. Rashi tells us, Lo nechtam gezar dinam ele al hagezel. The final decision to bring on the Mabul was only because of the theft. The primary reason that the world deserved to be cleansed of its moral filth was because of Gezel. And this we have to understand. Because, as we saw, society had spun off its moral axis, so to speak. There was erva and avodah zarah, idol worship. Why specifically because of Gezel, theft, did Hashem see it now fitting to bring on this Mabul, to cleanse the world? So the Ramban actually says something very interesting. He says that Gezel is something which a human being, using his own seichel, his own mind, and his own logic, can conclude is wrong. There are certain things, he calls it a mitzvah muskelis, a mitzvah which we can come to using our own brains. And therefore, once that had become undone, once people stopped respecting that simple, basic understanding that this is wrong, the entire social fabric just became unwoven. But I think there's more than that. I think there's more to Gezel than this. That's because there's a midrash that says something very interesting. That the Gezel, the crime of Gezel that they were involved in, was pachos misheva pruta. It was a very, very minute amount, so minute, says the midrash, that they couldn't even be held liable for it in court. The person that got stolen from could not even bring the ganav, or the gazlan, the thief, to court because of it. It was such a minute amount, you couldn't do anything about it. I think this midrash actually opens the door to an understanding here of what was really going on during this generation of Noach. And that is, there was a loss of yashrus. There was a loss of integrity. amongst the people living at the time. What they felt. And they rationalized in their own conclusion. They rationalized in their own confusion, right? That since I'm not going to be punished for this, there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with it. If I cannot be punished for this act, this must be a kosher act. Where in reality, the act was a complete wrongdoing. But they were judging their actions based on the results, not on the action itself. And what was the result? The model. So I think a very nice idea is coming out of this, and a very fundamental idea in just Torah outlook. And it's the idea of midah keneged midah, which we translate into English as measure for measure. What we do, Hashem reciprocates, both for the, well, at least say for the bad in this case. What do we see here? We became wishy-washy with the borders that were set up by the Torah, or set up by Hashem, with the spiritual borders. Hashem, as a result, brought on the model and got wishy-washy with the earth, where we lived. When we become wishy-washy with the spiritual borders prescribed by the Torah and the mitzvahs, Hashem, in turn, midah keneged midah, becomes wishy-washy with our material borders in which we exist in this world. Additionally, there's a pasuk, Im lo brisi yomam v'layla, chukos shamayim lo samtiv. If not for my Torah being learned day and night, then the statutes of Shamayim v'aretz, the statutes of this world as we know it, they were never put into place. If not for the Torah being learned, everything would go back to the way it was before Bereshis, before the beginning of creation. I think this idea that is coming out of the Parshas is telling us something. That it's not only the Torah learning in terms of kamus, in terms of the quantity of the Torah that's being learned, but it's also in terms of the eichus, in terms of the quality. Is the Torah that we're learning, is it done? Is it being learned with integrity? With yashrus, straightness? With morality? Are we being mekayim the Torah in such a way? Because if we are, then the chuchos shamayim will midah keneged midah also respect their borders. If we respect the borders of the Torah, the chukos shamayim v'aretz will also respect their borders. And if not, we know the conclusion, and we see the conclusion from the story of the Mabul. I think in a very important idea has emerged from this whole Mabul story. And that is that we see how potent, how powerful our little actions can be, the effects of them. A Maisa Gezel that was pachos misheva pruta, that could not even be punished for, was the deciding factor for Hashem to bring on the Mabul and to rinse the world of its filth. I think the Parsha is pushing us to look. The little areas which we might not think are so important, and as a result of which we give less respect to, or deal with in a less yashrus way. I think we can find a makom here to be mechazik ourselves, to not only learn the Torah, but to fulfill the Torah with integrity.
Shkach.